on this because Sister Mary's just said, "Oh, let's do Genesis now." No plan, no preparation. We'll just do it now. So there's nothing like being put on the spot. So I'm just reading from the and this is Vine's. I'll just show. So it's Vine's Keyword Study Bible, Hebrew, Greek.
Are you suggesting we get that?
You can if you. I'm just saying where I'm.
Oh, I see.
Going from with it. Okay. So it says the name Genesis. Who wrote Genesis, by the way?
Moses.
Moses, yes. So it says the name Genesis. Oh, Brother Ezra, we're looking for you now for your expertise. Yeah, we're looking for you for your help us out. So it says the name Genesis comes from a Greek word meaning beginning. The title, and so in Hebrew, it's Bereshit, but in Greek. Okay. So the title was taken from the Septuagint, the ancient Greek translation of the Old Testament. The Hebrew title Bereshit, in the beginning, that's what it means. Bereshit, in the beginning, was derived from the first word of the Hebrew text. And you'll find in all of the Bible, they use the first word to describe. Mm-hmm. So you've got Bereshit here for Genesis, and Exodus, you'll have the Hebrew word as well. It's always the first word that they take, and they will name that chapter. So just to give you an example, Exodus is Exodus is a Greek word which is composed of two parts, ek and hodus. So ek means out, and hodus is road, out road. They're going. That's the Greek. So if you are looking, I think Sister Louise is looking in. Can you just check in your Bible online to see maybe the Hebrew Bible, or and see what Exodus is? It doesn't actually say it here.
Not all that familiar with all of this.
Sorry, I missed the first bit. I don't know what you.
Huh?
So I missed the first bit.
Just saying that in any Bible study, if you're studying a book, you need to know what the book is. You need to know who wrote it, what period of time was it, why did they write it. So for every chapter that we'll do, at the beginning of every chapter, we'll cover, or whoever's leading out will go through. When you come to a new chapter like Exodus, you're going to say who wrote Exodus, what is it about, what period did it cover?
I've got a Hebrew Names Bible.
Yes, please. So you'd see Genesis is Bereshit, and Exodus is, because it should be.
Right, I've got that.
The books of the Bible?
Yeah, no. Right, so, oh, sorry. So Hebrew Names version, it just says in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth.
The earth, earth is earth. So it's not saying, so it's just, what is it saying? Just Genesis?
It just says Genesis, unfortunately.
Okay.
So,
sorry. Wonder what language we'll be speaking when Yeshua comes back. Will it be English or will it be Hebrew? I wonder what it's.
It won't be English.
It won't be English, no.
Aramaic.
Aramaic, you think?
I think it's a pure language and
language,
no man can tamper with. And no man know it. That's what I believe.
Because remember, he was the one who corrupt one. So he says he's going to restore a pure language.
Yeah.
Calling in one.
There's no, because I don't believe there's no pure language.
Yes.
Here at the moment.
At the moment, there is a
no.
bit is taken from here, a bit
Yeah,
there,
yeah. And man interjecting their own thing and all of that. So I truly believe.
And he said pure.
You're pure.
It says the English name of the book derives from the Septuagint, which is Greek, use of Exodus to designate the deliverance of the Israelites from Egyptian bondage and their safe passage through the Sea of Reeds, traditionally mislocated. It says the Hebrew name of the work is Shemot. So Genesis is Shemot. Exodus is Shemot.
I used to know them.
Yeah, I used to as well, and I've forgotten because I don't use it. The Hebrew name for Exodus.
Okay.
Of the Hebrew name for the Bible, for the book of Exodus. Okay.
Okay, let's see. So let me just see, because we have a book here.
Ah.
I don't know if it's in there. It says
the Sefer.
The Sefer? Yeah, what does the Sefer say?
I haven't got my Sefer.
There's a Sefer there.
No, I've got it.
Oh, you've got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, I haven't got it here.
Oh, I see what you
loaned
mean.
it to me.
Okay, I see what you mean. I don't know, because here we have the books in section, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Here they are.
The
So
book,
they
that's it. Yeah, Shemot.
Yeah, so
Exodus.
yeah, so they got them
And
on there.
Leviticus is Vayikra.
Mm.
And Numbers is Midbar. And Deuteronomy is Devarim. Devarim.
Yeah,
So we're going to make sure that we know those as well.
Yeah.
So in your books next week,
Yeah, let me know.
we're going to expect. I'm looking for the class that have their pen and paper.
I have mine already.
You have yours already.
Okay.
Yes. Your pen and your paper.
So is it the first word that appears in that particular book? That's what it's called.
That normally is, yes, it should be, yeah. You wouldn't have like judges and because they're people of the Bible, so they give them that name.
Exodus doesn't seem to.
But Exodus, it says because he took them out from the reed, it says now these are the names. You're right, it doesn't. If that's what it says, the name is reeds. But Genesis, it says Bereshit in the beginning. Okay. Right, let's go back to Genesis. So it says, was derived from the first word of the Hebrew text. The book of Genesis is an appropriate introduction to the entire Bible. The kernels of all truth are found in Genesis. Thank you, sis. More than half of all human history is covered in its scant 50 chapters. Genesis answers our gnawing questions about the origins of the universe, of ourselves, and of all life forms, of sin and evils in the world. In a more detailed manner, Genesis first unfolds the early history of man and then the family records of God's chosen family and related lines of descent from the dawn of time to the settlement in Egypt. Although Genesis is strictly speaking not a scientific document, only divine inspiration can account for its modern accuracy in a pre-scientific age. Genesis is very clear that all things were created and had a definite beginning point, God. Everything was well designed by a supreme intellect and continues on the basis of his purpose, not chance. God controls the cosmos and truly cares for the centerpiece of his creation, mankind. Though the human race departed from God's ordered plan for them and must pay for the consequences, God has lovingly provided a way back home to paradise. Yippee!
Amen.
Yes. Genesis alone fully informs us of the events which predated Moses. Surely Moses wrote it using some ancient sources under God's direction. Yeshua, Jesus referred to Moses in Luke 16:31, 24:44, and John 5:46-47. Those are scriptures that we can look at. So we do agree that even the scientists nowadays are coming in alignment with what Father says. God created everything.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, even those that try to I know that it was on the TV the other day that the scientists were saying that the Earth was much older than what it was, but the modern day aging technique that they use is showing that it's a lot younger
Than
what they think it is. So the Bible doesn't lie, and we're thankful that Father gave us. Could you see if he didn't give us this book? What would we be doing? Wow. Okay, so we're going to embark. We're going to find out. We're still probably going to have to come back to this, to the beginning again, just to remind ourselves what the heading of it, telling us about the book of Genesis. So, the creation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning. So there was no beginning before him. He started everything. And the earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep. So when Father's created the heaven, it's saying here, darkness was there already. We're going to read further on where Father is separating. We'll see in a minute, darkness. Hold that point in your mind. Verse 2, and the earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was moving over the surface of the waters. And God said, let there be light. Can you imagine? Let there be. And light comes, and there was light. Verse 4, and God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. So it says here in verse 2, darkness was over the surface. So there was no light at that time. It was just dark. But verse 3, let there be light. There was light. And God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning one day. Now, we work from sunset. We go by sunset to sunset, yes? Sunset to sunset is one day. Fathers, the Bible here is saying, and there was evening, and there was morning one day. Yes, so we started working on that. Yeah, because I know a lot of people challenge that. and say, why doesn't it say from sunset to sunset, evening to morning? Just bear that in mind,
Yeah.
because we're going to pick that up. Okay, so that's in verse 5. Then God said, let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate. So the whole earth then, was that covered with water? Or was it just a portion? Do you understand? Then God said, let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters. Which water are we separating?
Is it that there was water on the earth or in the earth, and then he calls an expanse, so there's water outside of the earth and water in the earth, on the earth.
Could be. I'm learning just like you. I don't. That's why we're here studying. It could be. There's obviously, because you've got, where does the water come from up above? You know, I know they say the cloud.
Because of Noah's Ark.
Huh?
In the flood, that water disappeared, and that's why our life. This is what I might understand. Our lifespan shortened then, because the waters above, changed the atmosphere. The waters that came down for the floods changed the atmosphere, and so our average height is less because we used to, and we don't live as long. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
I have to warn you. I believe in the flat Earth.
You believe in flat Earth?
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Could be. I know that there's water under the earth. There's water under where we're standing.
Yeah.
And there's water up above. And that's probably where. But let's read and see if we can. Because people will ask you this, and they'll come and they'll challenge you with it.
Yeah.
I think nothing is made without God. So even if he says the water was there, that water didn't come without God. God made that water, because he says in the beginning he created the heaven and the earth. So if
there's water above, water on earth.
So if he create the heaven and the earth, he might not go into depth and says when he created the heavens he put this there, he had put this there, or when he created the earth this was there. Because he says I created the heaven and I created the earth. There's so many detailed things probably up in the heavens that we not even know, or beneath the earth that we still don't know. I was listening to someone study, and I'm going to say Jimmy Swaggart, and they were having their Bible thing, and I could not believe he says, I think they were studying the same Genesis, and he was saying this is the only thing God didn't create, water, because
So
he said because they're saying that because the earth was without form and it moved upon the deep, and God didn't say created water. I'm like, come on, I wouldn't even listen to it. He has to create the water.
Well, if God didn't create it, who did?
Exactly. That means somebody else. There's another higher power.
Yeah.
You understand? It's only one God. So he said he created the heaven and the earth.
Oh, that is all inclusive, isn't it?
Exactly.
You just have to see it as that, and there's no argument. You don't
Yeah.
get into if they're saying, well, who God says he created in the beginning.
He created the heaven and the earth.
Yeah.
And whatever is there, then he started to furnish it. He started to furnish it.
And it's like you buying a house.
Yeah.
What do you do?
And if you even look at that verse 6, which you were taught, he said, the firmament. What is the firmament? It's the heaven. So when it goes down to the bottom part of it, when it says it divide the water from the water, that space is between the water above and the water below. So the firmament represents the above.
Exactly.
And that is between the earth. So when you look at that there, and if you even look, I don't know if you can actually read that little small box that pop up there. There's a little study Bible that gives you because it's a firmament. That's talking about the firmament.
No, the little box, the H.
H7549. I'm just looking. What is that?
It's a reference to
Rakia? Properly and expand. The firmament, is it?
Okay.
My understanding is the firmament is an invisible roof.
Arch of the sky.
So it says here, properly an expanse. That is the firmament, or apparently visible arch of the sky firmament. And you're saying you think firmament
is actually like a roof, a bit like in you know, it's actually an opaque.
Like a dome type
Yes,
thing.
stone.
Yeah.
Yes.
That you can't see. We don't know. And
No.
the thing is, even scientists don't
No,
know themselves.
I mean,
And-
I sort of say it's not a salvation
I was
issue.
just about to say,
Sorry, I
Would
shouldn't.
this, yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you for
Yeah.
saying, but at least we're
Mm.
thinking the same.
Yeah.
Something
thinking
like
differently,
this,
but
if
we
you've got,
agree.
don't get into an argument with anyone about it,
Mm.
you know, because does that save me? No, it doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still nice to know.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to go along with things and trust God. You know, you know, if you get somebody who firmly believes in the Big Bang, you've got a problem. You know, but I mean, I would always say, if you look at all the macro, you know, expanse of the planets, and we know when the sun's going to come around, and we know in advance where the sun is going to be, and where the moon's going to be, and when there's going to be an eclipse. You know, that can't have happened by accident.
Exactly.
And the little
That's
micro
ordered.
ecosystem.
Yeah.
ordered.
You know, man is not capable of knowing everything about this earth.
Yeah.
There's no way it could have. And I say, if you have a car and there's a bomb underneath it, let's say you've got a heap of junk, okay, and you put a bomb underneath it and it explodes and it's a beautiful shiny car, and people laugh at you, and I say, yeah, but you're saying that's how the earth was created. A big bang and all this order came about. It's nonsense. It was designed and created.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good analogy.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was that?
I said that's
So,
a good analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what could you put and cause a bang
Exactly.
and things come in
Explosion.
order?
Yeah.
Whenever there's a bang, things go all over the place.
Exactly.
It's a mess. It creates confusion.
But it just goes to show where their mind is.
Yeah. But I
I
think
tell you what, I'm sorry, but I think what they're trying to do, sometimes they don't really come out and say what they get their perception from. And I think if you think about how they literally see how a child is born, how the actual sperm connect to the egg, and then that just creates a child. So if you see where the mindset is from coming, and that's how deep they go, because that brings life in it
Yes.
and creates something. So they're using it, and these people are very tricky. They don't know where to go, but they tend to go somewhere to try to bring out something in order for people to just follow their perception.
Amen. As you talked about the sperm and the egg, there's a video, and I think I'll send it to the group, where the sperm actually hits the egg and light. It's just
I've
like
heard that.
you've got a flash of light.
Yeah.
happens. Who else?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
And it's only because of modern day science
Mhm.
why they can see that.
Mm.
I can't
Yeah.
do that.
But I think people believe what they want to believe. So if they turn around and say, "Oh well, you know, well I think that's obviously what must have happened, you know, with the creation of the earth. It was an explosion, because I don't believe in this create." And I say, you know, if you honestly think all the order of the earth was created from an explosion, you call us gullible? You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's because you don't want to believe in it. Because if you believe in God, you've got to do His way and not your own way, and that's what it boils down to. And that's the end of the conversation.
Exactly.
Well, there's a I don't know if you want to look at it this way, and the constellation of Leo is still forming. It's not complete, so it's still forming at the moment, just like some planets. They take time to form.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's other forces going on. I don't want to get into things.
But yes,
just to
Father
say,
still.
we might think that it's all finished according to some scientists.
Yeah.
But anytime they talk, they say, we discover. They never say, because they say science is the highest knowledge of them. But they never can say for sure anything. They say, we discover. What did you discover? Means something is pre-existing before.
Yeah.
So you're discovering
What is already
there.
Yeah.
And so there's force. I don't want to get into these kind of things. Yeah, because it's a bit complex.
Yeah, that's what they always say. They discover.
Never can say, oh, with this and with that. No, we discover.
And anything is discovered, it means
Yes.
already.
There's a pre-existing
Exactly.
force
So we've
there.
got two Hebrew words here for divide, and let it divide. We've got H914 and H996.
Okay, let's see. It's the 1-4 says what?
Badal, a primitive word. This is H914.
Mhm.
In various senses, literally or figuratively, separate, distinct. So let's separate.
Mhm.
Yeah. Distinguish, differ, select, difference, divide. Okay. So that's H914.
So we'll see
And
the other one, yeah?
Yes, please. And that one is Bane. And that one says sometimes in the plural masculine or feminine, properly the constructively contracted form of an otherwise unused noun for H995, a distinction, but used as a preposition between, repeated before each noun. Also, its conjugation, asunder, at, between, in, out of. So, asunder, yes. So when he says, let it separate, let it divide, so he's, from what that is saying, distinction only uses between, repeated before each noun. In, out. Let us divide, okay? So whichever way it is, Father separated it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I don't think you can prove one or the other.
Yeah, he
It's
separated
interpretation,
it.
but
I was just
yeah.
wanted to see what the words
Yeah.
were, to see, try and get a better understanding. Verse 7, and God made the expanse. So everything is telling us God made, God
Mhm.
made, God created, and separated the waters which were below the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse. And it was so. And God called the expanse heaven. So if you can think, everything was just one big mass
Yeah.
of everything. And so he's, whichever point he says, right, this is a separation. So you're going to be there. I'm separating. So there's no water here. And then water's going to be down there. And God called the expanse heaven. And there was evening and there was morning, a second day. So after morning, you got midday then, don't you? You got, so what's happening there? Just asking the question. Okay. Well, we're going further. Then God said, let the waters below the heavens be gathered into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. Ooh. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering of the waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, are we okay so far? Because we just read it through now.
So during this process up to now, there were no dry land.
There was no dry land.
Because
Because he
water.
says, and let the dry
Yeah.
land appear.
Mhm.
So there was no dry land.
There were no dry land. So even when he says in the beginning, create the heaven and the earth,
It's just,
there was just water.
Yeah.
There was no dry,
there's
nothing dry.
Nothing. And God said, let the waters be. Oh, we did that bit. And
10.
verse 11.
10.
Yeah. Then God said, let the earth sprout vegetation, plants, yielding seeds. Have you seen what they're doing to our food nowadays? You buy it, there's no seed in it. There's no seed.
They have all the seeds stored away.
Yeah,
GMO.
GMO, there's no seeds in them. And fruit trees bearing fruits after their kind, with seed in them on the earth. And it was so. Brethren, go to the shops and buy. It's normally the Asian shops that you go and you can buy the things with seeds in them. And maybe we should start demanding more of that. Yeah.
I think we're living in this age where we don't want nothing with bone.
Yeah.
We don't want nothing with seed.
Seeds, yeah,
We-
seeds don't taste so nice, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
what is what's good for us. And then
Mm.
sometimes we're thinking, well, we not healthy
Yeah.
and we're saying they this, but we still have a choice.
Mm,
And is what we do with that, the choice that we
exactly.
have.
Because even the pumpkin's got seeds, and they tell you pumpkin seeds are good.
Yeah.
You know, for you.
Yeah.
You know, sunflower has
Yeah,
got
the
seeds,
yeah.
and they tell you sunflower is good for you.
Mm.
So, Father, in the seeds, you know, that's why.
And some of these things have the natural oil
Amen.
that comes from
Avocado.
yeah.
Take the seed out, let it dry, and then grate it.
Yeah.
Sprinkle it over your cereal, sprinkle it over your
Mm.
That lasts you
salads.
forever, that nut.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm.
Wow.
You let it dry first, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep it a couple of, maybe for about 3 weeks after it's dried, then you grate it.
Okay.
So, yes, verse 11. Then God said, let the earth sprout vegetation, plants yielding seeds, and fruit trees bearing fruit after their kind, with seed in them on the earth, and it was so. And the earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seeds after their kinds, and trees bearing fruits, with seed in them after their kind, and God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, third day. Then God said, let there be light in the expanse of the heavens, to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years. Without the sun and the moon, you wouldn't be able to tell what day, if it was day
I'm
or
not sure
night.
that is the sun or the moon, because the sun and the moon are created a bit later, aren't they? Sorry.
Sorry, the expanse and to
It doesn't say he's created the
no,
sun.
you're right here. It doesn't say that. The stars are later.
And the sun and the moon are a bit later, I believe.
Right, okay.
Anyway.
So he's given us lights in the expanse. It could be stars. I don't know. We're going
Just
to.
his light, it's difficult.
Yes, it's difficult. But if you're going to know, he says seasons. How do you know seasons? It's not by the stars.
Warmer, green, I don't know.
No, it's not by the stars.
No,
You know
no.
the seasons by the moon, not by the sun. The moon is what tells you when a new month begins.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you when the middle of the month is by the shape of it. So it.
The vegetation.
Sorry, you
Yeah,
were
now I
saying-
was saying this particular word here is not really referring to the summer. If you look at it, it's literally talking about the Moedim, feast.
It's the
And
feast
all the rest
days.
of it, yeah.
So it's the moon that tells
Yeah,
you
exactly,
when it is.
yeah.
So
But
it is.
he hasn't created the moon yet.
Can you just put
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
That little bit there.
Yeah.
It seems.
So which word is this? This is
More, yeah, it's more wide.
H4150, which
Yeah.
word is seasons,
Yeah,
and for seasons. And so he says the seasons are Moed,
yeah.
an appointed,
Mm.
an appointment. So that's when we keep Passover, unleavened bread, Feast of Weeks,
Yeah.
Feast of
Tabernacles and
so all those. Yeah?
It's difficult because that's verse 14, but I think it's verse 18. You actually see the sun and the moon created.
Mm.
So I don't know. Again, not a
Because
salvation issue.
I mean, when you think of it, if you look in the sky, you can't tell when a new month begins just by the stars.
No.
It's virtually, it's impossible.
Oh no, it's not the stars.
Yeah. So it's saying here, this is a fixed time or season, specifically a festival, conventionally a year, by implication an assembly, a place of meeting, also a signal, appointed, assembly, congregation, feast, season. And so that is where it says season on there,
Mm.
the Hebrew
Feast days,
word,
yeah.
yes. So where it says, when we were reading it before, in verse 14, he says that he gives us these so that it separates day from night, from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons.
Mhm.
So we're going to come back to 14.
Yeah.
We're going to read on because we're going to
Yeah.
try and get some concrete. Verse 15 says, and let them be for lights in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth, and it was so. And God made the two great lights, the greater light to govern the day. So this is the moon and the sun. And the sun.
Yeah.
So it is the same day.
Okay, yeah.
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 You see, this is why you
Study,
you
yeah.
need to study and go in line by
By
line,
line,
so you
yeah.
get context.
Yeah.
And let them be for lights in the expanse, verse 15, of the heavens to give light on the earth, and it was so. And God made, verse 16, the two great lights, the greater light to govern the day, and the lesser night to govern the night. He made the stars also.
I mean, assuming 16 is referring to is the same as 14,
Yeah.
just repeating it rather than
Yes.
because I don't know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, 14 doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it?
But I think what 14 does is telling you
It sets the scene.
the
doesn't it?
scene.
Yeah. Sorry, I just-
It's
Yeah.
signs for the scene. It's okay, Sister Louise, you're coming up here next week.
Because
Yeah.
if you look, all this is in the one day.
All this,
Yeah.
It's not like a separate
exactly.
day. Yeah, so it's the same
The
day.
same day.
Yeah.
And it's because not the next thing is because we have our scriptures in verses and chapters, then that's where it's kind of easy to then confuse because then we're
Confuse.
singling out a verse.
Yes.
I think that verse has nothing to do with the
Because
other
the real
verse.
scripture just
That's it.
reads
It
on
just
it.
reads
God.
all the way
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
That's the best Bible you can get, where you're just reading it like a book.
Yeah.
Which it is.
Yeah, because they do trip us up.
Yes.
Verses and chapters do trip us up because
up.
by the time we get to somewhere else, we say, well, that was saying that, then it has nothing to do.
Exactly.
Put it in
The writer's just carrying on.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it was originally, isn't it?
Yeah. Verse 17. Are you okay, sister? You want the fan on?
No, it's gonna.
Oh, yes, yeah. Okay. Verse 17. And God placed them in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth. Verse 18. And to govern the day and the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening and there was morning, a fourth day. Then God said, let the waters teem with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly from the earth in the open expanse of the heavens. And God created the great sea monsters. Ooh, what's a sea monster?
Whales.
Whales,
Tuna.
sharks,
Tuna.
tuna,
Yeah, that's a big fish. There's all sorts of really big fish,
fish,
isn't there?
yeah. Because crocodiles, fancy making crocodiles.
But I think originally crocodiles weren't harmful. Maybe.
Don't know. I don't think they were at the time, as you
No,
say, in
no.
the beginning, because everything was made. There was no animal going and eating other animals,
No.
because they were all eating from the vegetarian. That's it.
And there's one other thing. I mean, I don't know. This is getting slightly off kilter, but that there were those that say, the dinosaurs weren't created by. Not all of them were created by God. It was the Nephilim that came in and mingled the seed, and what came out of it were the dinosaurs that and they died in the flood. I know that's going off on a tangent a bit, but. Yeah, so I just thought I'm going to go to the link before I go any further.
Oh, dear.
The funny thing is, I'm looking at the great what it says.
Very moth, is it?
And they have sea serpent as well.
Sea serpent.
Yeah.
Oh, you got sea snakes.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
You
do.
got sea snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got snakes that can live on earth and live in
Water, yeah.
Yeah.
Because these are giants.
Yeah.
So,
Sea monsters, dragon. I mean, I don't know what a dragon looks like, but it talks about dragon breathing fire. And sometimes you don't know if these are like fairy tales, and you see them. No, because sometimes, they can.
There's certain times of the in creation there was these creatures.
Mm,
Yeah, some of them have died.
died
off.
off, yeah.
Extinct.
Extinct, yeah.
Like the dodos.
The dodos.
Because I
Thank
kind
you,
of find it
Sister
really
Mary.
hard to they believe this dinosaur theory.
Yeah.
I don't. This is not one thing I take to, because when I see that what they do, the research that they do, and the bones that they picked up. Now thinking about the flood of Noah, you know how things just get tucked into the thing, and they just get a few little bones and they start putting an image over it to say this is what it is. So for me, kind of a bit difficult for me to accept the dinosaur thing as and it's so popular.
Yeah. And the dinosaurs were like 10 million years ago.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
everything is Rex.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
T-Rex.
You can find a dinosaur, but you can't find Noah's Ark.
It's so it's so so
That's a good one.
questionable for me. I don't know. This my thing. I don't believe in dinosaur because I'm thinking all
I don't
that
believe in that. I mean,
all that bones could be from. If you look at the size of a whale,
yeah.
they could easily take a whale bone and construct it how they want to do it. And
And I believe the Bible would speak about it as well.
yeah.
Yeah? The Bible
I
would
would
speak about
something.
it.
And even as you said, the image of a dragon with fire. I don't know if they are the one who, you speak about that. I don't know if they build an image around that and say, okay, this is how it.
There's some things that when it's outside of the Bible,
Yeah.
I just try and leave it alone.
Yeah.
Because the more you sort of go down this, it's like
You get lost. Yeah.
because there's nothing there.
Yeah.
It says the Bible supports the scripture, and that you don't need to go outside. Now, yes, sometimes we do go outside because Josephus was writing also about what was happening. So you've got that. You've got things of that was happening in Babylon and other places where they had writers who wrote these things down, and it's there to support scripture. Oh, you missed it.
Do give me a quick read.
No, Sister Louise. You will bring something else up. No, we're talking about dinosaurs.
Oh right, okay. Yeah.
What have you
I
got
think
to
I
add to
started
that?
one. No,
Nothing
I
yet?
think I started it.
And you know what? The next thing I think is we should remember at the creation bit there, they said man was more upright, more bigger. Everything was much bigger.
Yeah.
So if they do find some massive stuff in the rock or dirt or whatever, now and it says sea monsters, isn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously those monsters that was in the sea was much bigger than what they are now.
A monster doesn't necessarily mean big,
Big,
you
well,
know.
not even so.
Yeah, a monster
so.
doesn't necessarily mean big.
Yeah, it could be an ugly creature.
Could be ugly.
As I said, this is a theory or probably what I'm believing. As Pastor says, if we know that men was much taller than what we are now, so we're thinking the trees much more taller. I'm thinking the animals that God made much more bigger, and all of these things. And sin is what caused us to make the earth look like this.
I'm going to stop you there. Do you remember that man that Jesus healed his eyes? And when he looked, he says, I see men like trees.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then he did something again over his.
Yeah, give him a second touch.
Man walking like man. So if man is walking like trees are very upright, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they must be some tall people that he had seen walking.
Yeah. So I that's what I think. I think everything much more bigger.
But even age.
Yeah.
You know what you had here. People living 990
Methuselah and all of this.
And then when Abraham came, then they brought it down to 100 and whatever else. And then David says man's life is 70. So it drops.
Anything over that is
Please let us
Streaming on borrowed time.
Oh dear. Father knows. Okay, so where are we up to?
21 you were.
21, okay. 21. And God created the great sea monsters and every living creature that moved, that which the waters swarmed after their kind, and every winged bird after its kind. and God saw that it was good, and God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the sea, and let the birds multiply on the earth. Look at that. Eve, go forth and multiply. And then man decided, you know what, I'm going to restrict. You can only have one child. And you see how man tries to take over, because I think it's China, where now that they're encouraging people in Japan to have more, because they realize they've got a problem with the aging population. Got all these elderly people and no young people. So now they're saying have as many children.
Before you could only have one.
Because you could
You
only
have a penalty before if you had more than one.
Yeah.
And people, I was watching the program where people used to leave and go in these remote areas. If they have more than one children, they have to leave their homes because they're going to be fined because they have 2-3 children or whatever it is.
But it stands to reason if you've got 2 people, you produce 1 child. After a generation, your population is half.
Exactly. But it just goes to show when they have these people coming out socialism, you know, communism, and you're doing that. And no one's confronting them and whatever. Look at the impact now it has.
I mean that they're using this to sort of talk about there's too many people on the earth and climate change. I mean, it's ridiculous because I think something like you could fit every single person on the earth. They'd only be standing room only in Texas. Everybody on the earth. There's so many parts of the earth that isn't populated. So this overpopulation
just evil.
Is ridiculous.
Evil. And you know, this thing about climate change. I mean, Romans tell us, doesn't it, in Romans 1, where they worship the creation rather than the creator. You know, you're talking about the seas and the stars and the this. You know, they give more emphasis to that. And at one point, they say, let's pray and ask the creator, God of heaven, what he can do or to show us what we can do.
But the thing is, my understanding is the climate isn't changing.
It's doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
Because he's coming and we're told that, you know, things will change. But all these things that they're doing, you know, that they can even stop rain from falling.
I think we were watching something like that.
Stop rain from falling.
And they could create rain.
They can create,
they want to. But there's another.
He must look up there and just think, what are these silly people doing again?
No, he knows exactly what they're doing.
What are they doing again?
But there's also the thing about is it, you know, and they all, you know, in 21 where it says they produced offspring after the same kind. And that puts evolution off, doesn't it? Because, you know, I mean, okay, I can see that a crow and a magpie are very similar. So a bird will create a bird, but there's no way a bird turned into a reptile, which
after its kind. After its kind.
And it's the same with man.
That's what I was just going to say.
It's the same with man. You know, you've got bestiality now, where man is deciding that they're going to go with beasts. Yeah, but it is what it is. Or where 2 men together, 2 women together. What was it? Someone was speaking and they said, well, you know what? If 2 men want to go together, that's fine. But let me see them have a child. That's the only time.
And it's like in this system, it goes directly against fill the earth, you know.
Exactly.
Because anything that doesn't produce children is okay in this system. It's you know, that's fine. But if you get a man and a woman who want to be together, it's almost frowned upon, you know, or it's just harsh.
Isn't it funny how the 2 men together or the 2 women want to get married? Isn't that weird? Yeah.
I was watching this thing on YouTube. I don't even know if I could get the word. It was so good. And anytime something is good with me, I don't get the full concept of it because I've got this eager thing. Even if I love a song, it's like I'm so wanting that I don't listen carefully. I'm so in it. So I have to go and listen to that message at least 3 times to get the full. But it was so good. I think probably a day or so I see Pastor downstairs and he clocked onto it. I think I heard him watching it. But he was given this pastor was given an explanation on why the devil want to mess with your sexuality and with sex. And I didn't even think, he says it's such a sacred thing that you shouldn't share with any and anybody. And he says that part of your body, you give to that special person, where you can't give to your mother, you can't give it to your children, you can't give it to your father. It's so sacred where you're giving that part of your body. God make it so sacred that you should share this with just one special person. But the enemy come in and you just want to mess it up, where you have it all over the place, or you have it with this, or have it and all of that. But I said I have to go and listen to it again, because I know it's much deeper than how I'm explaining it. But it was so good the way how he was explaining. I don't know if you...
I think he specializes in what we were just talking about with woman and man, as well as sexuality. And he said, listen, they've banned me from YouTube, they banned me from this because my speech said they should know, because I'm coming from the Soviet Union, and I know what all these things is about. And this guy's out there, and he literally
you've got to send it.
I'm like, he's really getting into it. And he said, listen, this is not for children. He's telling you, because he's going to be dealing with some stuff where people don't want. And this man was really good. Why the devil going into sexuality and destroying it? He said, sex is no worship as God.
It'd be quite nice to have.
Because he said something, as Pastor said. He says in every single religion where they mix their religion with a sex god. Him says and he says if you search every religion, it mixed with sex.
I know that's a lot of them. Where they have, even in the temple, you go in and you have prostitutes there, male prostitutes,
and some of them have to, if you're a priestess, you have to marry to some god or whatever. So it's always, it says all of these religion, they tied up with sexuality, some sex businesses in it. But it was so good. I probably have to send it to you, because I'm proper good. And sometimes we don't study other things and see why the devil is so after this sex. He's so after it, where the little toddlers now, they want you to teach them sex. These little children can't even change their nappies, don't even know what to wipe their bottom, can't shower themselves, can't do nothing at all.
They're exposed to homosexuality.
But you are, and you have to. It's so bad. But then I think I need to send it to you. What he was saying, it's really, really good.
It'd be good if we had to, because I saw a video once which really spoke to me, and I thought, I'd love to share this with the group, but it really wasn't suitable for children. I thought, well, I better not, because there was like people like Joden and that who I thought were a bit young for it. But it'd be good if there was like a group for grown-ups, a WhatsApp group that we could share videos with if we don't think it's suitable.
You know what, Sister Louise? I think we're in this age where we're saying that's what I was just gonna say. We're saying it's not for them, but I think it is for them, because we are not letting them know what life is. But in school, they're sharing these books, they're giving so many things, they're teaching them so many things in school. So if it's not now, it's when is it gonna be the time for them? Because if these children should really open up and tell you what they know, you'll be surprised, be like, so and so. They know more than what. And I think because we are spirit, we don't even check what our children know. Because what school is teaching them, their friend is teaching them. We give them a phone. God knows what they're looking on these phones. They're in a room, they got TV in their room. While you're in your room snoring, what they're probably watching. For some of us who do not govern our home, I'm thinking, and you're gone to your bed and your child up watching TV.
Or porn.
If we don't talk to them and train them, the school's definitely doing it, and their friends are doing it. And
they taught themselves.
Sleepover.
Yeah. Oh God,
I don't agree with sleepover, because I don't know what's in that home. So sleepover, especially if that child's young, no way.
I think sleepover is when you leave my house and you become a man or a woman on your own. You decide where you want to sleep because you're in your own house. But I think as long as this is me, as long as I've got a child, there's no sleepover.
Yeah, because some people say they're Christian, but sometimes they believe in witchcraft and the stuff that happened in their houses.
Yeah.
So I would not send my child for no
Yeah,
sleepover at
yeah.
nobody's house because I don't know you, I don't trust you, because a lot of people are Christians. But you make something happen and they find that the person with the thing, they have Ouija boards in their home and bringing up familiar spirit. Listen, you have to be careful.
Yeah.
Protect, let them, as you rightly said, when they are old enough, now you taught them enough where they should know and they expect danger. So if you go there,
go somewhere, they see it, they go, Daddy, you wouldn't believe. I went to sister such and such, and you wouldn't believe what she was doing. You know, because they know that it shouldn't be done.
And sometimes it's sick. Look at this. Sometimes people just want somebody's child for a sacrifice. For something, and you come to their house, the child don't know, and they doing whatever they're doing and having that child for a sacrifice messed up their brain and everything.
The thing is,
you have to be careful.
I'm reading a book called The Return of the Gods, and it's all about Ashtoreth, Ishtar. You think these gods are finished?
No, they're not. No,
right in front of us.
They're right in front of us, and
Cartoons.
especially that we are in a society. Look at who our prime minister is. It's Hindu. Look what he did before he went into number 10. Put down the rice and the flour on the doorstep of number 10, light up the candles, and he knelt down and he prayed. Now, did we see any of our prime ministers that were born in this country? Did we see any of them before they went into number 10 and did their sacrifice when I'm saying sacrifice, I mean kneel down and pray to the Most High? No. It took a Hindu god to show us what it means to give thanks. And that's a pagan god.
But the thing is, we're talking about all of these gods coming. We have Christian, how we say Christian, or who we say we, and because we do not read, we do not educate ourselves. You see, you go to people's house and they have all these Buddha in the stores. You go to B&M or whatever, they have them in fancy things, and we're buying these things. We don't even know what we're buying. And we're buying these little ornaments, and we're putting them in our home, and we're decorating these ornaments, and we do not know. People having colored bags and these colored things.
I remember when the papers came out, and I went out and bought something, but I didn't see because it was in sequins. I didn't realize until someone said to me, "Do you know what that is?" And once I couldn't wear it again. It's like I had a piece of jewelry, and there was the peace sign, but it was a cross turned upside down in it. I had to take it off, and I not even give it to somebody else. It went straight in the bin.
It's so deceptive.
There's so many things that's out there that we have to be careful of what we buy, and because we do not know what we're bringing into our home and what these things represent.
Someone stayed with me. They stopped over because we were flying out of Luton, and it's my sister-in-law, and she had I kid you not. This is someone who used to preach in the Church of England, ordained to preach in the